there's an aspect about being proactive. There's what you need to do even as you're demonstrating resilience, which I think is a very is an encouraging and it's a practical perspective to dealing with adversity, which is an integral part, in life's journey. So thank you very much for your sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that is deep. And uh, the worst thing in life is to allow hopelessness to take charge in you. It doesn't matter the circumstance. And we are on this earth for a season. So give hope, give encouragement. But you can only do that if you are resilient yourself. Uh, Sylvester, then Nancy, then Charity.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. One thing it just reminded me is that you said once we are resilient, it makes us better people
Mm,
and not just stress, and we stop from surviving and we start living it. That thing has reminded me because I can give, for example, where I am at. I've been
mm,
having a lot of, like my employers, all of them are white people, and you're the
mm,
only black person. And those guys, there's a way they do work and they do their thing. It's like I'm in a new season. My
mm,
previous person has just stopped. And those guys are always on me. Like they've been in every step I make, they must be there. So sometimes, like when people are following you, and sometimes you feel like, why are these people doing this? You start questioning yourself, you start asking, even sometimes you can doubt even yourself, and yet you're good in whatever you are doing. So, and reading and listening from you, it has taught me that indeed it's making me to be a better person,
mm.
and the future is it's being prepared well for me. And for real, I can say I was the few weeks ago I was when I was meeting other my colleagues, I was like, I'm just surviving. But today you've turned that word away, and I'm truly knowing that I'm living and because of resilience, and I truly appreciate that fact. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful. I don't know whether I told this class uh, a very interesting form of formation. I worked with in the Ministry of Education for a long time at Jogo House, and my immediate supervisor was a very indefatigable PS, Professor Karega Mutai, God rest his soul. And Professor Karega Mutai was a no-nonsense person. Why? Because he says he only learned up to class 4, formal education. And then the rest he taught himself and got a PhD from California State University. So one time there was a national, what do you call it, task force headed by Kabiru Kinyanjui, Professor Kabiru Kinyanjui. And Professor Kabiru Kinyanjui, put on that light. Professor Kabiru Kinyanjui brought a report. Get me some water here. Brought a report to the ministry, put some, a report to the ministry of 500 pages. It was called the Universities Inspection Board report, giving the state of university education in Kenya. And I was in charge of policy and planning. So Professor Karega Mutai sends the report of 500 pages and says, come for discussion. So I go on second floor. I was on 10th floor in Jogo House. I go to second floor. And he says, I was not Professor Ayiro, I was not Dr. Ayiro, I was Mr. Ayiro. And he says, Mr. Ayiro, you know that President Kibaki cannot read 500 pages of a document. So I want you to reduce this 500 pages to 50 pages. And on top of that 50 pages, I want an executive summary of 1 page. But make sure nothing important is left out. I still have those notes. I would do chapter by chapter, take it down to second floor. Karega would shout, you tell me, Ayiro, you people are useless. You went through Mangu High School and me, I didn't go anywhere. What kind of English is this? And then throw it back at me. It took me a month. I have all the handwritten notes of Professor Karega Mutai. And we eventually reduced that book, that report, to 50 pages. If you go to the government printer in Nairobi now, ask about the Kabiru Kinyanjui University's report, but ask for the abridged version, the 50-page one. There's a 500, there's 50-page. So we now had to hand that to the late Professor Saitoti before it went to the president. And of course, my PS took it to Saitoti, and Saitoti asked, which officer was working on this? You see how God works things. And Karega said, it's somebody on 10th floor. These people are just lazy. They claim they went through Mangu High School, and he didn't know Saitoti was from Mangu High School at that time. So it caused attraction, and Saitoti sent for me, called my office and said that I should go down. And those days when a minister called you as an officer, there was trouble. Hardly was there anything good. So I got into the lift, went down, found the office second floor was full of people. Saitoti was a very popular leader. So you had all his people from Masai land and from everywhere in the Republic. But the secretary was instructed, when Ayiro comes, let him come in immediately. That even increased my heartbeat and my adrenaline. So when I went in, Saitoti stood up and said, are you so-and-so? Yes. You are the one who has worked on this report with my PS? Yes. Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. And then he told Karega, there and there, that Laban Ayiro becomes my speech writer and my personal assistant. So you see, adversity can be formation. And what did that mean for me? It meant everywhere Saitoti went, I was the first on the list. So because of that, we visited 57 capitals of the world with Professor Saitoti. We became very close. We would go to Paris for the UNESCO conference, and they start with alphabetical order countries, and K is down here. So on first day, we haven't presented, but we have listened to all these other countries above us, Canada and the rest. And Saitoti, of course, would be sleeping in Hilton. I'd be sleeping in some den to save money to shop for my family. He would send a taxi, and we would sit in his bedroom, in his hotel room, up to 3 in the morning, redoing the Kenyan presentation. Fortunately, I was IT savvy, very young, so I had no problem. And so we became great friends. Even when he had those horrible instances of poisoning, he became very nervous. Anytime Saitoti wanted to eat proper Luya ugali, call it with meat or whatever, he would come to Kelelesha to my house. So my family knew him as a friend and so on. Look at where that gift came from. So he said, but you can't be like this. You must start. He's the one who said, you must do your master's and the ministry will sponsor you. After I finished the 2 masters I was doing at the same time, you must do your PhD. I paid no single cent. We would fly on the plane. He would upgrade my ticket from economy to business so that I can study on the way and study back, land in Jomo Kenyatta, go to KU to do exams. I am saying something. I'm saying something. Adversity is supposed to cause formation in you as a person. Nancy Okeo?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof, for the opportunity. Your message today has really touched me. I love the way we go spiritual before we do the lessons. The message on resilience, I felt it really touched a certain part of me, a very strong one. And of course, this is a story about being promoted or being sponsored by Professor Saitoti. It also encourages a lot. I work in an institution where I lead a big staff of around 60, I think. Both the teaching and the support staff. Total is around 60, and student population of almost 3,000. It's not easy. Even right now, as I speak, I'm yet to go home. I'm still in my office, preparing to head home after they have settled. So it's very demanding, and sometimes I would ask myself, am I going to make it through this? Because I start classes here, there are disruptions. Right now, there's somebody waiting for me at the door, but I'm happy that I'm staying strong. I'm a mama, just like the one you've talked about, who has teenagers at home. So when you arrive at home, there's that demanding bit with the teenagers. There's another one doing CBE. We have to do homework, and a lesson is going on. It is that resilience that keeps me going.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for the message. I'm
Wonderful.
holding on. And I also want to be proud on that day of graduation.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful.
Be blessed.
Okay, the last person is Shaban Abdul.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you on your lesson about resilience. I've reflected on it personally, and basically on my journey on becoming a music teacher. I remember back then in high school, the first in Form 1, when I stepped into a music class, my first ever music class. I had trouble, a big trouble in like keeping on singing in pitch, because basically from my own ethnicity, it was more of a Kaswida and Arabic music.
Yeah.
And then coming to study Western music, there was these are two different scales that is in music, because in Arabic music or Kaswidas, we use quarter tones, which are divided more than the Western scales, which are half tones, or rather the half steps. I had a hard time, but I knew I'm talented in this, and I'd love to also get to have this side of music. And I had to soldier on through, had to find ways, and also talk to my teacher and explain all that. And I'm glad I got to a point now I advanced, and up to now I feel I'm even getting to be pitch perfect. And as I'm teaching, that I even get to listen to songs and arrange and even prepare for music festivals. And I'm happy. And this lesson on resilience has really touched me on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul. So everybody, let us learn that adversity is part of formation. And in life, you'll find that when you look back, when you join the dots later on in life, there are those moments where that difficulty refined you by pressure to become a better person. Thank you very much. So allow me now to refocus you back to the class. But you know, we have done two classes. We have done leadership, our leadership class on Saturday. A lot of it is in there. Because by the time we part with you, I want you to remember me as somebody who taught you the value of moral authority in leadership. Not somebody who taught you office authority. Not somebody who taught you the types of leadership, the constructs. We'll do them, but more importantly, that it is somebody who drove you towards appreciating what moral authority is all about. And so you are able to flourish without the instruments of your office. I don't need them. This morning was Bible study, and I have about 16 kids who come to me. Those are the ones the renegades, the ones who have been gone through discipline. They have tried smoking, drinking, and illicit sex and all those. Those are the ones I have in my office. But you should see the formation in those kids. One of them was a street kid on Kirinyaga Road. What a transformation. And he calls me dad. And then he never leaves the campus. He stays there during holidays to do work. He has bought his own laptop. He's doing Ayiro, I think Ayiro Science, yes, or software engineering, one of those. He doesn't know whose father is, whose mother is. But it's just more authority because he was found in our TV room and he had stayed there for 2 weeks, hoping to get an education from Daystar. And I'm so proud he's now in third year. If I had exercised office authority, he would never have come my way. So, so we have not wasted time. We have done the 2 classes, but now I want to get into the research methods. Remember, we are sitting in chapter 3, and remember, after I did the overall framework of chapter 3 and gave you the slides, I now want, and we started with the first case study, and that was in the education sector. So today we're going to do 2 case studies, one in the area of psychology, and then the other one in the area of public finance and governance. I have taken, I've set up a database of where most of you come from, the sectors where you are coming from. I know there are even people from law, there are people from security, from human resource. So I'm going to work on case studies for the coming 3 weeks. And if we don't finish them, I will send you those case studies so that they can anchor your wrapping up of your chapter 3 in the research methods class. And again, as you start preparing for proposal defense moving forward. So I want to look at an example of, and by the way, don't sleep early today. Your proposals will start coming through today. At least about 50 are coming through today. It's not been easy because, as I told you last time, I am not looking at a proposal and saying there's no problem statement. I'm not looking at a proposal and saying the purpose is not clear. So let me just give you an example of what I'm going through. I did it last time, but I want to repeat. I want to give you an example of this proposal. Look at this. And this is what I'm doing for each one of you. And I have about 100 and I don't know how many, but we are going through them. So for example, this is the work of Emmanuel Okore Sango. Again, this is about moral authority. I'm trying to tell you, even if we have delayed for a month or 2 months, morally, I am at peace because I'm giving you feedback that will close your chapter 1, and then you move to chapter 2, you bring it to me, and then chapter 3, then me as your first supervisor, I'll have finished with you. So for example, this one, this is trainer readiness and pedagogical competence in the implementation of modular CBET programs in Kenyan TVETs. Some of you, I have had to recast the topic. It is not reading, I have said, but this one is a reading topic. So Emmanuel, this is what I've done. Emmanuel, I've gone through your chapter 1 and made my inputs. Please carefully go through the work and incorporate into your finalization of your chapter 1. Once through, you may proceed to chapter 2. All the best, Professor Ayiro. So this is what I've done for Emmanuel. I have looked at his chapter 1, background of the study. I have looked at the statement of the problem. These are my inputs. I've gone on to the purpose of the study. I've looked at research objectives, research questions, and hypotheses. I've looked at the rationale for the study. He should compare with his, and then significance of the study. I have looked at scope and delimitation. I have discussed the conceptual framework, giving the various, the independent, the moderating, and the independent variable, key constructs and their relationships. I've looked at definition of terms, but I'm not giving you everything because, like, definition of terms, notice I've not cited, I've not given you the citation. So you have to look for who defined pedagogical competence and cite that person. And throughout your work, I've not put in citations. I've left it for you now to go and look at citations, and you're able to put them there. And then I've given some few references, useful books that you need. So this is my feedback for each one of you. And now you appreciate why, if I was just writing scene, or it looks okay, or work on your problem statement, I would have returned these things long time ago. But I'm doing mentoring. I am causing formation so that this anchors your chapter 1. Then we shall do chapter 2. I must do your chapter 2. After you've written it, I must go through it. And then finally your chapter 3. If I don't manage to get into your chapter 3, I will have a seminar for the whole class. Since I'm now going through the chapter 3, I'll have a seminar for the whole class and tell you this is what I expect. Then you can go and write and prepare your proposal for defense. So that's the kind of situation. But tonight, about 52 of these are coming back, and I'm plowing through the rest. Again, just morally, what are you doing? What are you doing is what drives some of us. Yes. So I want to look at a case in psychology, and I'll be wanting readers so that my tea doesn't get cold. This is chapter 3. This is in psychology. Case study 1 was in education, which was sent to you. This is case study 2 in psychology. And I would really like, particularly if you are in psychology, I would like you to be one of those readers. Then we are going to do public finance and governance. If we can finish those 2 case studies, then next week we'll look at about 4 from different areas. So we are ready to go. Violet Akibaya. So the list we have here is Violet Akibaya, Shaban Abdul, Lois, and I'm beginning to see the same people. Please remember, although this seminar is on discipline inquiry, I want participation, just like in the course on leadership. You know, the course on leadership, we don't have any exam. Yeah, I will want you to grade yourself against your assignments, against your class participation. All right, so the coordinators, can you capture those names so that you're able to read them as they read? Over to Akibaya.
Thank you so much, Prof. Part 1, Chapter 3, Research Methodology.
Okay, research methodology.
3.1, Introduction. This chapter presents the methodological framework for examining the relationship between ethical leadership, employee work engagement, and the moderating role of psychological safety in Kenyan commercial banks. The chapter outlines the research paradigm, design population, sampling procedures, instrumentation, validity, and reliability procedures, data collection processes, analytical strategy, and ethical considerations.
Okay. Just a minute, Akibaya, just a minute. Everybody pay attention. You are chapter 3, 3.0, research methodology, 3.1, introduction. I want to see that in everybody's chapter 3. And you will tell me what this chapter presents. What is your chapter 3 presenting? So can you just repeat that, Violet, so that we are sure? What will we write that represents what we would like a Daystar thesis to look like?
Okay,
Aligned
thank
with
you.
the topic. Go ahead again.
This chapter presents the methodological framework for examining the relationship between ethical leadership and employee work engagement and the moderating role of psychological safety in Kenyan commercial banks. The chapter outlines the research paradigm, design population, sampling procedures, instrumentation,
No.
validity.
The chapter outlines the research paradigm, design, population, not design population.
Oh, sorry,
Yes.
Prof. Design, population, sampling procedures, instrumentation, validity and reliability procedures, data collection processes, analytical strategy, and ethical considerations.
Yes.
The methodological choices are informed by established quantitative research principles, Cresswell and Cresswell 2018, Sanders, Lewis, and Thornhill 2019, and aligned with the functional research logic articulated by Ayiro 2024, which emphasizes coherence between research problem, objectives, hypotheses, variables, and statistical procedures.
Pause. You must tell us, where did you get your methodological choices from? And you must cite your reference material. And I want to emphasize, from now henceforth, any paper you write, any assignment you submit, including your research proposal, and finally your research thesis, you must acknowledge those people whose material you used to build your knowledge around the topic you are researching. Number 2, you will not get that A grade in this course if you have not exploited your class text. So before you write your chapter 2 literature review, before you write your chapter 1, in fact, the material I've given you in chapter 1 is all from the book, The Functional Approach in Research Methods by Ayiro. You have to read that book until it is started. And then it will be reflected in your mastery of your area of study. And you must cite the authors. So when you do your references, you must cite your authors. So the first thing is the introduction. Tell us what chapter 3 is all about. The next one is what has informed your methodology. And you have seen that example. Second reader. Thank you, Akibaya. Second reader.
Three point two, research paradigm. The study adopts a positivist research paradigm. Positivism assumes that reality is objective, measurable, and amenable to statistical testing. Since this study seeks to test hypothesized relationships among measurable constructs, ethical leadership, psychological safety, and work engagement, a positivist stance is appropriate. Ayiro 2024, Criswell and Criswell 2018.
Yeah. So, 3.0, introduction. 3.1, 3.0, introduction. 3.0, research methodology. 3.1, introduction. What is in the introduction? You tell us what the chapter will hold, and you tell us your justification of your methodological choices. 3.2, you talk about the research paradigm. And in this study adopts a positivist research paradigm. Those of you in psychology, I expect most of you, because psychology is a science of measurement, I expect most of you to sit in the positivist paradigm or in the pragmatist paradigm, where you're using both qual and quant. So 3.2, research paradigm. What am I saying? If thou comes from Daystar with a master's degree, when I open your chapter 3.0, research methodology, 3.1, introduction, and we know what will be in the introduction. 3.2, the research paradigm. And here we have adapted a positivist research paradigm because of the topic. We could have adapted a constructivist research paradigm. We could also have adapted a pragmatist research paradigm. So you tell us your research paradigm and why. And the best way to go around this is to cite the authors who have amplified what that paradigm is like. Carry on, our reader.
3.3, research design. The study will employ a quantitative explanatory cross-sectional survey design. According to Ayiro 2024, explanatory designs are appropriate when the objective is to determine cause-effect relationships between variables and test hypotheses statistically. This design allows the researcher to 1. Establish the direct effect of ethical leadership on work engagement. 2. To examine the effect of ethical leadership on psychological safety. 3. Test whether psychological safety moderates the ethical leadership engagement relationship.
Wonderful. Who is this? Who is reading? Is it
Shaban?
Shaban, yeah, wonderful reading.
Thank you, sir.
And Shaban, you intrigue my mind around your grasp of your specialization. That is music, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, when I read your work, your chapter 1, just the framework, it is still very loose, but I've tried to give you very deliberate guidance because I see so much potential in you.
Yes.
And in the area of music, this country has people who sing in the church, but this country does not have specialists, authorities in music, and we must nurture people like you. And just hearing your reading here tells me a lot about your intellectual disposition as a person, and I want you to feel encouraged.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah, next reader.
Yes. The theoretical
Lois,
underpinning.
Lois, yeah,
Yes,
go
yes,
on.
yes.
So
Okay.
just a minute, Lois, just a
All
minute.
right. Yeah.
We are under research design, and we have said this study will employ a quantitative explanatory cross-sectional survey design. Quantitative, explanatory, not exploratory. Explanatory is quantitative. You're going to measure. Exploratory, you're going to seek opinions. It is cross-sectional because you're going to walk into that institution and walk out. It is not longitudinal over a long period of time. This is all in your class text. Go ahead.
Okay.
Lois.
Yeah. The theoretical underpinning of the design draws from 1, the social learning theory, 2, social exchange theory, 3, psychological safety theory. These frameworks justify the directional hypothesis and interaction testing. A cross-sectional approach is feasible within a master's timeline and appropriate for moderation testing, according to Hayes 2018.
Yeah, so you see, we are justifying why we are going to have a cross-sectional approach, not longitudinal, because your master's timeline is 24 months. So we are justifying why we are going to walk into the research area, take data, and walk out, analyze, and conclude. But also, cross-sectional approach are appropriate for moderation testing. Hayes 2018. I expect my good students doing a topic in psychology to now go and read around what does Hayes 2018 say about moderation testing. I have given you the theoretical underpinnings of this study in your chapter 3. We are not going into details because we will have dealt with these theories in chapter 2. We'll have dealt with these theories and justified why we're using them. Continue reading.
Okay. 3.4, target population. The target population comprises employees working in licensed commercial banks in Kenya. The study will focus on 1, the middle level managers, 2, supervisory staff, 3, frontline banking employees. Senior executives will be excluded to reduce self-report bias concerning leadership evaluation.
Yeah. I don't know. If you are from Luyaland, I would have asked you, are these things reaching you? That is colloquial English. Are they reaching you? Kwa Kiswahili labda ningesema haya yote yanakupata. You know, we can read, but hizi vitu hazitupati. You are now telling us your target population. Middle level managers, supervisory staff, and frontline banking employees. Now look at how I am saying I'll not engage the senior executives. We shall exclude them to reduce self-report bias concerning leadership evaluation. They will be biased. So we shall include them. We'll want to hear from the people that are supervising. What do they think of their leadership? Next reader. Thank you very much, Lois.
Thank you.
Next
Thank
reader.
you, Dr. Yes.
So
3.5.
yeah,
Sorry.
Irene, just pause. Irene, pause. Mimi nataka tuwe pamoja. And you know, I'm just that typical high school teacher and headmaster. Nothing has changed. I want to go back about chapter 3. Chapter 3 is research methodology. So 3.0 is research methodology. 3.1 is introduction. 3.2 is research paradigm. 3.3 is research design. 3.4 is target population. So any master's thesis from Daystar University will be formatted thus. And 3.5, sample size determination. Take over.
3.5, sample size determination. Sample size will be determined using statistical guidelines for explanatory research. According to Ayiro, 2024, sample size should be adequate to ensure statistical power and representativeness. For large populations, Cochrane's 1977 formula and
There's no and.
Krejci and Morgan's.
Krejci. You are now a learned intellectual. Pronounce those names because they're part of your language register. When I talk about Krejci and Morgan, you know what I'm talking about. So don't be pedestrian. Don't struggle with these kind of names. You are now there. You are in there.
Apologies. The consonants are quite a mouthful.
According to
Ayiro, 2024, sample size should be adequate to ensure statistical power and representativeness. For large populations, Cochrane's 1977 formula or Krejci and Morgan's 1970 table may be used. For moderation analysis, Cohen, 1988, recommends a minimum of 200 respondents to detect medium interaction effects with sufficient power, 0.80. Therefore, the proposed sample size is N is equal to 300 respondents. This ensures robustness for hierarchical regressions or structural equation modeling.
Very good. Now, this sounds intelligent. You will tell me how you determined your sample size. First of all, you'd have done stratification of those classes of people, those ones, middle-level managers, supervisory staff, frontline banking employees. Then you will tell me the tool you used to get the sample size, because the sample size must be right. If it is not right, our results will not be valid. And we will cite, we in this class, is Krejci and Morgan's 1970 table. And you can put the table there. Then you tell me if this is the population, the small n, the sample would be 300. I like the last bullet. This ensures robustness for hierarchy regression or structural equation modeling. Of course, this is statistics. This is, if you are doing psychology, I would like to see your regression model. I would like to see which variables are most influential. But this is between me and you. Not me, me as your first supervisor, my role ends after you defend your proposal. After that, chapter 4, you'll be with your second supervisor, and chapter 5. So they'll go through the statistical analysis and interpretation. If you have issues, then we are there to help you do the interpretation and analysis. Next, continue reading.
3.6, sampling technique. A multi-stage sampling procedure will be applied. Stratified sampling to categorize banks into tier 1, 2, and 3. Random selection of branches within each tier. Proportionate random sampling of employees within selected branches. Ayiro 2024 emphasizes that sampling procedures must align with the unit of analysis and research objectives to minimize bias and enhance generalizability.
Well done. Yeah. So when I open your chapter 4, I want you to tell me your sampling technique. This is multi-stage sampling procedure because you're going to do layering of the cadre of people from whom you'll get your responses, but also you will do stratification of the banks, depending on the bank, the size, the big banks and the small banks. And you do random selection of the branches within each tier, and then random sampling of employees within selected branches. And the emphasis is that the sampling procedures must align with the unit of analysis and research objectives to minimize bias and enhance generalizability. So I would like to hear your story on sampling technique, packaged and convincing as we have tried to do here. Next reader.
.7 Variables and measurement. In line with Ayiro's 20. In line with Ayiro's.
Please mute.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Yes, Chapt, it is supposed to be Jenga command. Variables and measurement. Okay, in line with Ayiro's 2024 functional approach, each variable is operationalized clearly and linked directly to the hypothesis. 3.7.1 Independent variable, ethical leadership. Measured using the ethical leadership scale, ELS, developed by Brown, Trevino, and Harrison, 2005. Bullet 1, 10-item scale, 5-point Likert format, demonstrated reliability, alpha more than 0.90.
Yeah. You see, and be very careful, we are now getting into the tools. I would like to know if this is a psychology, a proposal, research, there is a measurement of ethical leadership. And we use the ethical leadership scale developed by these three gentlemen. It is a 10-item scale, and it uses the 5-point Likert format. And the reliability index is alpha greater than 0.90. So you must tell us the tool, but you must be able to characterize that tool from your class in statistics. And even if you have not encountered this in your class in statistics, it calls for reading. You must understand what the ethical leadership scale is all about. Because I will ask you in chapter 3, as you write, and in chapter 4, as we analyze, what were the outcomes of the ethical leadership scale? I would want to see. These scales are already validated. So you are not developing a tool. The tool is already there. You are just going to use it. That's why they have told us it has demonstrated an alpha value for reliability of greater than 0.90. Carry on.
3.7.2 dependent variable, work engagement. Measured using the Utrecht work engagement scale. You've gone forward, Prof.
Sorry.
I hadn't finished 3.7.2.
Sorry, I was taking my tea. Sorry, yeah. Okay.
No worries. Let me take it again. 3.7.2 dependent variable, work engagement. Measured using Utrecht work engagement scale, UWES-9, Scaufeli-Barker and Salanova 2006, capturing vigor, dedication, absorption with a reliability reported above alpha that is equal to 0.85.
Yeah. So, class, I want you to note that we are now looking at the variables and measurement. Each variable is operationalized clearly and linked directly to the hypothesis. We are talking about independent variable. This is the cause. This is the variable that is manipulated. So this is the stimulus, ethical leadership. And there's a tool for measuring that. You don't have to make a tool. With your supervisor, you would use that tool and you'll analyze your findings. Then you tell us about the dependent variable. Remember your conceptualization in chapter 1, conceptual framework, and then chapter 2, when you expanded on these variables. Now in chapter 3 is now application and measurement. So the dependent variable, the outcome, is work engagement. And work engagement is measured using the UWES 9 scale tool. And you are going to measure the vigor, the dedication, and the absorption. These are all psychological constructs. And the alpha value for reliability is very high. So the tool is already validated. Carry on.
3.7.3, moderator, psychological safety. Measured using Edmondson's 1999 7-item psychological safety scale. Reliability coefficients typically range between alpha, which is equal to 0.7, and 0.85.
Yeah. So the moderator variable is the psychological safety. And there is a tool there that will be used. So you are seeing the conceptual framework. You have the independent variable, moderator variable, dependent variable. And you must describe this in your chapter 3, because your chapter 3 is methodology, and methodology relates to population, sampling, data collection, and measurement. Okay, next reader.
Okay. 3.8, pilot study. A pilot study involving 30 respondents from a non-participating bank will be conducted. According to Ayiro...
Pause. The pilot study will involve 30 respondents. Remember, we had picked 300 as the sample. So normally you take about 10% to do your pilot. But look at this. And this is not just in psychology. By the way, this is universal, so you better follow this. We have 30 respondents from a non-participating bank. So this pilot is done in a bank that is not among your sample. Carry on.
According to Ayiro 2024, pilot testing serves to 1. Refine instrument clarity, establish reliability, detect ambiguities. Reliability will be assessed using Cronbach's alpha greater or equal to 0.7.0 acceptable threshold. Nunnally and Bernstein, 1994.
Yeah. So you are taking the instrument for testing, the pilot. You want to see whether this instrument is understood by the respondents. It is clear. You want to establish the reliability, but now we won't really do this because we will pick instruments that are already validated. But just note that you did a pilot to establish reliability, to refine clarity, to detect ambiguities, and that your Cronbach's alpha for reliability was equal to or greater than 0.7 as per Nunley and Bernstein, 1994. Yes.
3.9 Validity and reliability. 3.9.1 Validity. One is content validity, established through expert review in organizational behavior and research methodology. Two is construct validity, assessed through confirmatory factor analysis, CFA.
Yeah, and I expect some of you, my students of psychology, not even psychology, of explanatory research, quantitative research, to be familiar with the factor analysis, confirmatory factor analysis. I don't have time, but when I was doing the pilot study for CBC in the country, I used the CFA, the confirmatory factor analysis. Maybe one of next class, somebody remind me, my coordinators, to bring an example of how I used that to analyze the findings of that pilot study, confirmatory factor analysis. Okay, next reader.
Validity and okay. Acceptable model fit indices. CF1 greater or equal to 0.9, LI greater or equal to 0.9, RMSEA less or equal to 0.8, SRMR less or equal to 0.8, Hare et al. 2019. Ayiro 2024 underscores that construct validity ensures theoretical alignment between operational definitions and conceptual variables.
Yeah, I'll bring the results of the pilot for the CBE, and we'll explain this. Right now, this is abstract. Until I give you the data I got and how I did the CFA, it will not make sense. So the coordinators, please remind me to bring a sample of how we measured construct validity for the tools, and these are the results. Now, what am I doing? I'm stretching your ambition to know that if you are doing explanatory, quantitative analysis, statistical analysis, you will have to punish yourself to make sense of things like content validity and construct validity so that the overall results of your research will be valid and reliable. So we'll look at that next time. Next reader. That was on validity. Now we are on reliability.
3.9.2, reliability. Reliability will be assessed using Cronbach's alpha, composite reliability, CR, greater than or equal to 0.70, average variance extracted, AVE, greater than or equal to 0.50.
And this is very easy. It is not as Greek as it sounds. Reliability is measured using Cronbach's alpha. Validity is measured using the confirmatory factor analysis, particularly construct validity. Content validity is established through expert review. These are the green pastures, the literature review. So that's not a big problem. Next.
3.10.
Yeah.
3.10 data collection procedure. Upon ethical approval, authorization will be sought from selected banks. Participants will receive informed consent forms. Data will be collected electronically via secure online questionnaires. Data collection period is 4 to 6 weeks. Ayiro 2024 emphasizes procedural consistency to enhance reliability and replicability.
Yeah. So you'll have to give us a paragraph or a page on your data collection procedures. Ethical approval means ERB from DASTA. We have a body, a registered body, and also an ACOSTI at national level. And then you have to get authorization from banks, get consent from participants, tell us how you collect your data, how long it will take. But I want to say data collection procedure emphasizes procedural consistency. You must do things consistently in every one of those banks that you walk in. Next reader.
Data analysis techniques. Data will be analyzed using SPSS and AMOS or Smart PLS.
Or CMA or Python or what. There are many techniques depending on what you will do with your supervisor. Carry on.
3.11.1 Preliminary analysis. Data screening, missing data treatment, normality testing, multicollinearity diagnostics, in brackets, VIF less than 5.
Yes.
Closure of bracket.
Yeah. So how did you analyze your data? You did data screening. There is a way to treat missing data. There is normality testing of that data. And you really must avoid multicollinearity by not measuring things that are too close to measure. Yes. So that will be the preliminary analysis. Go on with this one.
3.11.2 Descriptive statistics means standard deviations, correlation matrix.
Yeah. So these are descriptive statistics. Once you've gotten your data in the analysis, you'll get means, values, standard deviations, correlation, and you'll engage in describing and giving us graphs and tables and then interpreting them. Next reader.
Thank you, Prof. 3.11.3 Hypothesis testing. Moderation will be tested using hierarchical multiple regression, highest 2018. Model specification. Step 1, control variables. Step 2, ethical leadership. Step 3, psychological safety. Step 4, interaction term, ethical leadership, psychological safety.
Yeah. So we will do hypothesis testing. And that's why, colleagues, when I tell people you must punish yourself, This is what I'm talking about. You'll have to understand. You'll have to look at illustrations. You'll have to look at papers that have already gotten results on multiple regression coefficients, and you'll have to compare it with your model here. And here we are talking about control, ethical, psychological, and the relationship between ethical leadership and psychological safety. So you'll have to give us the details. And that can only come if you are lying comfortably and calmly in the green pastures. And I'm talking about your literature review. Now, I want to read this because most of you won't make sense. So there is the regression analysis, that equation. What are we measuring? Work engagement. Beta 0 is the y-intercept. Beta 1 is ethical leadership. Beta 2 is psychological safety. Beta 3 is ethical leadership and psychological safety. And there is an error term on a regression model from your statistics class. Now that error term is a problem. It's a big, big problem. And sometimes our results come to 0 because the error term clouds all the other variables. But we shall go to that later. Now, if beta 3 is statistically significant with a p-value of less than 0.5, that means 95% confidence level, moderation is confirmed. So once we get this, that there is a relationship between ethical leadership and psychological safety, if we get a value that is significant, then the moderation is confirmed. Interaction effects will be plotted to interpret simple slopes, that's nothing. And it is emphasized that alignment between hypotheses and statistical procedures to ensure functional coherence in research design. Mimi sitaki analysis za bandia. Then we shall not be building you up. We shall not be building the research resilience we are looking for. So those of us who opt for quantitative analysis, we will walk you through the statistical tools and help you in the interpretation of your findings until you make sense of what your research was all about. Any other approach is false. It's false, it's corruption, it is arrogance, and God resists those things. So I'm trying to prepare your mind that when it comes to data analysis, both quantitative and qualitative, truthfulness must stand out. Then you'll be strong. Next reader.
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. 3.12, ethical considerations. The study will comply with university ethical review requirements and NACOSTI guidelines. Key considerations include voluntary participation, informed consent, confidentiality, anonymity, secure data storage, non-malfeasance principle. Participants will not disclose identifying personal information.
Yeah, so ethical considerations. There is the University Ethical Review Board in Daystar. In fact, we do it for other universities and institutions. There are requirements of NACOSTI, the National Council on Science, Technology, and Innovation. And we are looking for voluntary participation. You will tell us how you ensure that that was true. Informed consent, confidentiality, anonymity, secure data storage. I don't know what this word means, non-maleficence principle. You have to check it out. That's why you are a researcher. You'll have to find out and you'll have to talk about it under ethical considerations. And then...
Prof, I think it means no harm.
Yeah?
No harm to the participants.
No?
No harm. Do no harm.
Yeah, do no harm. Thank you. So we will ensure that, and then we shall not disclose identifying information that will say, oh, so it was so and so. Somebody read us the chapter summary, chapter 3.
Chapter summary, 3.13 chapter summary. This chapter has presented a coherent quantitative methodology grounded in positivist philosophy and aligned with Ayiro's 2024 functional research approach. The design ensures methodological rigor through appropriate sampling, validated instruments, pilot testing, and moderation analysis using hierarchical regression or SEM. The proposed methodology is feasible within a master's timeframe and statistically robust for examining conditional effects in Kenyan commercial banks.
Yeah. That is, and these are references, that is our case study 2 in the area of psychology. Carol, I'm wondering, or Meshach, I'm wondering how many students are doing psychology in this class?
Psychology, the ones who send me the inbox, I think if I received 3 who said they were doing psychology. Yeah, but of course,
yeah. So those doing psychology, you can see the depth of analysis I'm looking for. But this is not for psychology students only. Any of you who will engage in chapter 3 and you are doing either a positivist, you are sitting in the positivist paradigm or in the pragmatic paradigm, you will have to appreciate statistical analysis and then qualitative analysis. So if you're doing a mixed methods or you're doing a purely positivist or quantitative research, you'll have to appreciate statistical analysis, both descriptive and inferential. So that is case study number 2. I don't want to go into details because there is part 2 to this where I went into very detailed statistical analysis. We leave that for tonight. But now I want to give you an example, a case study 3 on public finance. A case study on public finance. So let me stop sharing this. And we have a lot of hands. You are not alerting me. Are these hands for reading or hands for questions? All right.
Yes, this one, the readers, most of them are the
Okay, yeah.
readers.
So we are coming, just keep your hands up because we are coming up to case study number 2 on public finance. And I have picked an example This is case study number 3 on public finance. And as I told you, we will do about, I want to do about 9 case studies. And but we are going to send you all these case studies because there is overlap. There is something to borrow. So could you have reader number 1 start us with this one on public finance?
The influence of public expenditure efficiency on service delivery outcomes in county governments, a case of health sector financing in Kenya.
Okay, so look at this. The influence of public expenditure efficiency on service delivery outcomes in county governments, and a case of health sector financing in Kenya. Remember, this course is on governance, leadership, and policy studies. Okay, let's go. Introduction.
Introduction. This chapter outlines the methodology framework for examining the influence of public expenditure efficiency on service delivery performance in county governments, focusing on the health sector in Kenya. The chapter represents the research paradigm, design.
Represents what?
It presents the research
You know, you are a master student from Daystar University, being taught by a professor of research methods and statistics in the Republic of Kenya, who has had advanced training in the best universities in the world. So this chapter presents the research paradigm. Ignore that G. Because I want you to sound intellectual. I want you to sound at home. I'm just teasing you. Start again. This chapter presents.
This chapter presents the research paradigm, design, target population, sampling procedures, instrumentation, data collection methods, validity and reliability procedures, data analysis techniques, and ethical consideration.
So you see our 3-1 looks the same. Looks the same. We shall give the philosophical underpinning of the research paradigm. We shall give the design. We shall give the target population, sampling procedures, instrumentation, data collection methods, validity and reliability procedures, data analysis techniques, and ethical considerations. And we shall not be strangers to this. This is now part of our menu in research methods. Carry on.
The methodology is anchored in the functional alignment principle advanced by Ayiro 2024, which requires coherence between research objectives, hypotheses, variables, and statistical techniques.
Very good. Vivian Odera, good reading. Next reader.
Thank you for the opportunity. 3.2, research paradigm. Yeah. The study adopts a positivist paradigm, which assumes that social phenomena can be objectively measured and analyzed using quantitative techniques. Public expenditure efficiency and service delivery outcomes are measurable constructs that can be operationalized using fiscal and performance indicators. Positivism is appropriate because the study seeks to test hypothesized relationships using statistical inferences. Criswell and Criswell 2018, Ayiro 2024.
Yes, carry on.
3.3, research design. The study will employ a quantitative explanatory research design using a cross-sectional survey complemented by secondary fiscal data analysis. An explanatory design is appropriate where the objective is to determine the causal influence of an independent variable on a dependent variable. Ayiro 2024. In this case, independent variable, public expenditure efficiency. Dependent variable, service delivery performance.
Pause. Very good reading. I'm impressed. Now, some of you are wondering, why is this man just talking about quantitative explanatory research? Why is this man taking us into the valley of statistics? No, we have other case studies. We are going to look at mixed methods, pragmatic, but we are also going to look at qualitative exploratory research design. I wanted to finish with quantitative today. Then next week, we're going to look at qualitative exploratory research design, and we're also going to look at pragmatic mixed methods research designs. But I want you to begin to be familiar, because this quantitative explanatory research, if you are going mixed methods, and most of you will be going mixed methods, then you'll have begun to feel comfortable, or you'll have begun to develop the resilience to look at these statistical indices as normal things for consumption. And really, this is about public expenditure efficiency and service delivery. So the SHA model of funding, we're looking at the public expenditure in that model, and we are measuring the service delivery performance. We really don't want voices, political voices, whether it works or not, and calling others washenzi and you what. No, we're not looking for that. We're just looking at the quantitative aspects, the statistical aspects. Then we shall come to look at the mixed methods, where we shall pick voices, cries, frustrations, agonies, and add it to the quantities we shall have measured. Or we can just decide we're not going to measure anything quantitative. We're just going to get explanations as to why people think SHA is good or why they think SHA is not good. And then we shall analyze that. So please be aware of that. Next reader.
Wilson, I'm kindly requesting we allow Peter to go. I skipped him in the list. Apologies for that. So Peter, Kilani.
Okay.
In Wilson. Okay.
The design will integrate 1. Primary data, perceptions of efficiency and service quality. 2. Secondary data, county financial reports, health sector performance data. This mixed source quantitative approach enhances construct validity and regulation. Saunders, Lewis, and Thornhill, 2019.
Yes. So you are seeing triangulation, and we are taking primary data where perceptions of efficiency and service quality are detected, but also we're going to look at secondary data just to ensure construct validity. Carry on. The same reader.
3.4, theoretical foundation. The study is guided by public choice theory, which examines efficiency and accountability in public spending. New public management, which emphasizes efficiency, performance measurement, and results-based management. Fiscal federalism, which explains resource allocation efficiency in devolved governance systems. These frameworks justify examining expenditure efficiency as a predictor of service delivery performance in devolved health systems.
Yeah, and we as Kenyans should be very comfortable with this because it is live. These are things we are dealing with now. We are trying to justify examining expenditure efficiency as a predictor of service delivery performance in devolved health systems. Many people have said we should never have devolved health to the counties. So we want to find out, And this can only be done through explanatory quantitative measurements. And then later on, we shall also bring in qualitative aspects if need be. Next reader.
Wilson,
3.5
Before we
target
move on,
population.
before we move on, Prof, I don't know whether I can ask a question with this.
Go ahead. Is that yeah?
Jenga, because I see the earlier case study that we did. 3.4 was on target population, and now this one 3.5 is the target population. Does it matter really that numbering really? Does it matter
No,
in terms
not
of?
really. But it must be sequential. Yeah, you get it?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, let's go on.
3.5 target population. The target population comprises country health finance officers, county health administrators, sub-county health facility managers, county treasury officials, county assembly health committee members. The study will focus on selected county governments in Kenya to ensure feasibility within a master's timeline.
Yes. Target population. You'll have to justify why you are picking that target population. Continue.
3.6 sample size and sampling procedure. 3.6.1 sample size. Sample size will be determined using Cochrane's 1977 formula for large population or Krejci and Morgan's 1970 table. For regression analysis with one primary predictor and control variables, Cohen 1988 recommends a minimum sample of 150 to 200 for detecting medium effects at 0.80 statistical power. Proposed sample size, 250 respondents.
Yeah. And I hope the class is reading something. You are asking yourself, how will I craft my sample size and sampling procedures? We have been given a framework, so you must use this framework and justify. After looking at the Krejci and Morgan's table, and you know the population, it will give you a value for the sample. You then have to justify, given the strength, the statistical strength of the Krejci and Morgan's statistical table, you will tell us why that sample then meets and gives the statistical power that will lead to valid results. So I'm asking for something here, and I want to see it as you construct your chapter 3. Thank you very much. Next reader.
Sampling procedure. 3.6.2. A multi-stage sampling approach will be applied. Purposive selection of 4 to 6 counties representing high-performing counties, average performing, low-performing counties. Stratified sampling of health and treasury.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Low-performing counties.
Yes.
Stratified sampling of health and treasury departments. Simple random sampling of respondents within strata. This approach enhances representativeness while maintaining feasibility, as Ayiro 2024 asserts.
Yeah. So if there is stratification, if there's random sampling within the strata, tell us why that this approach enhances representativeness while maintaining feasibility and validity of the sample.
3.7, variables and operationalization. 3.7.1, independent variable, the public expenditure efficiency. Operationalized using the budget absorption rate, cost effectiveness ratio, timeliness of fund disbursement, variance between planned and actual expenditure, put it up kidogo, administrative
overhead ratios.
Administrative overhead ratios.
Yeah, so you see, you must tell us who your independent variable is. Public expenditure efficiency. So what are you going to look for? What are you going to collect data on? Budget absorption rate, cost effectiveness ratio, timeliness of fund disbursement, variance between planned and actual expenditure, and administrative overhead ratios. From the Dr. Mwaka, I don't know how many people are in mainstream public service, are doing governance, and are interested in finance in this class.
Oh, there are several, but the team was, I think that's a big team as well. Maybe they can even try raising their hands. If you're in public service, you put your name as under public service, and public administration, finance, all those people. You can just show by raise of your hands, or it will mix up, but there are several.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so this is a very interesting area. You can actually craft your research or align your research proposal and study to this. And it doesn't have to be around health. It can be any other kind of public expenditure, education, housing, security, transportation, infrastructure, and so on and so forth.
Oh, yeah, we also have physical planning, urban and physical planning experts in there. Oh.
Yeah, oh, very good. Next reader.
There is George.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I thank you, Prof, for the opportunity.
Welcome.
Yeah, data sources, county budget implementation review reports, Office of the Auditor General reports, county health financial statements. Composite indices may be constructed using standardized scores.
Yes. And again, don't worry about composite indices using standardized scores. That's a very simple statistical manipulation. And when you reach that point, your supervisor and myself are there to guide you. Continue.
3.7.2, dependent variable, service delivery performance. Measured using patient satisfaction levels, availability of essential drugs, health facility utilization rates, maternal and child health indicators, average waiting time, data resources, county health performance reports, DHIS2 system, survey responses.
Yeah. So you see, these are the aspects that we shall measure, we shall collect data on to give an indication of service delivery performance. Obviously, patient satisfaction on a 1 to 5 point Likert scale, availability of essential drugs, health facility utilization rates, how many people are walking in and outside that hospital and getting treatment, maternal and child health indicators, average waiting time, data sources, performance reports, the demographic health system, and survey responses. So that will constitute data around the dependent variable. Next reader.
(3.8) Pilot study. A pilot study involving 25 to 30 respondents will be conducted in one county not included in the final sample. The pilot will assess instrument clarity, reliability, response variability, Cronbach's alpha threshold 0.70, Nunnally and Bernstein 1994.
Yeah, that symbol says greater than or equal to. Yes. Continue.
3.9 Validity and reliability. 3.91 Validity, content validity, established through expert review in public finance and health policy. We have construct validity, exploratory factor analysis will be conducted, KMO greater than 0.60, Bartlett's test significant, P less than 0.5. Ayiro 2024 emphasizes ensuring theoretical alignment between operational indicators and conceptual variables.
Yeah. So anytime I open your chapter 3, I must find at least 2 pages on validity and reliability discussion. It is a given. I expect to see pilot study. I expect to see the variables, dependent and independent, the variables and operationalization. I expect to see sampling procedure, sample size and sampling procedure. I expect to see target population. I'll expect reference to the theoretical foundation, although you'll have done it in chapter 1 and chapter 2. That is called threading of the thesis. I expect you to tell me the research design and the research paradigm, and I expect an introduction. So it should be coming to you now that, so this is how I'll package my chapter 3. Continue on reliability.
3.9.2 Reliability. Reliability will be assessed using Cronbach's alpha greater than 0.70, composite reliability if SEM is applied. Okay, 3.10 Data collection procedures. Ethical approval will be obtained from the university. NACOSTI research permit will be secured. Official letters will be issued to selected countries. Questionnaires will be administered electronically or physically. Secondary physical data will be collected from official reports. Data collection period 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. So there will be data collection procedures. And what I'm doing on one slide, I'd expect to see 1 or 2 pages in your thesis proposal. The next reader.
3.11 Data analysis techniques. Data will be analyzing using SPSS and or smart PLS.
And here, data analysis, we have many tools. DASTA, SPSS, and CMA are tools you'd use. By the way, a tool like CMA doesn't just give you the outputs, the statistical outputs. It actually describes, interprets them for you. So it's available in our library. You have access to it. Continue.
3.11.1 Preliminary analysis. Data cleaning, missing value treatment, descriptive statistics, normality test, multicollinearity, VIF, below 5.
Yeah. So there will be the preliminary.
3.11.2 descriptive statistics means standard deviations, frequency distributions.
Very good reading. Next reader.
3.11.3 Inferential statistics, correlation analysis. To establish direction and strength of relationships, multiple regression analysis, model specification, service delivery performance, beta naught plus beta 1, expenditure efficiency plus epsilon or error, where beta 1 is equals to effect of expenditure efficiency and error term. If beta 1 is significant at P is less than 0.5, the hypothesis is supported.
Yeah, this is very, very easy stuff, and it makes one appreciate your depth of conceptualization when we establish a correlation analysis between service delivery performance and expenditure efficiency, but not just say there is a correlation, but you are able to measure the strength of that correlation. So if we get a service delivery performance value of R squared, for example, is equal to 0.6, then we know that 60% of service delivery performance is determined by expenditure efficiency. You begin to appreciate this as you toil through your chapter 3 for the proposal, but for me, more importantly, chapter 4, when we have our results on our hands. Next reader.
Three 3.11.4 robustness checks, control variables, county size, population density, health facility count, sensitivity analysis using secondary data.
Continue.
3.12 ethical considerations. The study will therefore adhere to informed consent principles, confidentiality, data protection standards, non-maleficence. Public financial data will be used responsibly and cited appropriately.
Very good. Very good reading. Can somebody summarize our chapter, if this was our topic?
Thank you. This chapter has outlined a quantitative explanatory methodology suitable for assessing the influence of public expenditure efficiency on service delivery outcomes in Kenyan county governments. The design integrates primary survey data with secondary physical indicators, ensuring methodological rigor and practical feasibility. The analytical framework relies on regression modeling to establish causal relationships consistent with public finance theory and devolved governance principles.
Very good. So that is case number 3. As case study number 3, we've done education number 1, number 2, psychology, number 3, public finance in the health sector. So I'm going to give you more of these cases so that they sediment our thinking on how we shall craft our chapter 3. It's so important that chapter 3 is constructed well because it will give birth to our chapter 4. It will give birth to our chapter 4. Now, I want to use the remaining few minutes before I allow some worries, concerns, reassurances, I want to use the remaining few minutes. Let me see whether I can get this as fast as possible.
Hello, Prof. As you look for your material, Juliet's hand is up and she also had written on the chat. Maybe you could listen to her. Juliet.
Okay, let her go ahead. Let her go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Prof.
You?
I'm a bit confused.
Mm.
In our case study 1, 3.11.2, we had descriptive statistics. And in case study 2, the same number, 3.11.2, we have inferential statistics. I got lost there.
No, don't worry about that. When you are doing data analysis, you will start with descriptive statistics. Those means, standard deviation, frequencies, and then you will do inferential statistics, and they don't have to be elaborate. You will decide with your supervisor whether the variables, you just want to look for a causal relationship between variables, or you want to do a regression analysis where the statistical strength of each variable is determined to know which one is most influential on the dependent variable. So there isn't, the sequencing will just run through as you write 3.0 research methodology, 3.1 introduction, 3.2 design. 3.2 philosophical underpinnings, 3.4 design, like that. It will just run through. There shouldn't be a big issue there. Now,
thank you.
Yeah, I want us to look at this. I was trying to pick out the topics I want to use as my case studies, and this on meta-analysis. No, let me see whether I'll get this. I want us to look at this educational leadership. I'm just flashing through topics I'm using to develop topics for you, case studies. Influence of instructional leadership practice on teacher implementation fidelity of competence-based curriculum in public junior secondary schools in Kenya. The independent variable is instructional leadership practices. The dependent variable, the outcome, is implementation fidelity of CBC. Context, selected counties in Kenya. Why am I using the word fidelity? If I was going to research in this area, what is bothering me? What is bothering me? Why don't I just say influence of instructional leadership practices on teacher implementation of competency-based curriculum? Why am I going to fidelity?
We'll check out. Yes, there's a hand raised, so we can pick it up. that is, go ahead.
Vincent?
Thank you. I think you're checking adherence to the curriculum design and requirements. If there is a following, as it were, to the T of what the curriculum should be.
Am I having a troubled mind? You know, that's what causes one to do research. What do you think? And I hear what you have just said, but what do you think is going through my mind that I want to elucidate? I want to research and find out.
Right,
Gilbert?
but you can go ahead. Or Violet. Gilbert,
think-
support. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Prof, what is going through your mind probably is that there is implementation of the CBC curriculum, yes, in the public junior school, but is it being done in the correct way or how it is supposed to be done? That's what you're asking yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a big worry. When I hear the ministry trying to justify the number of textbooks is not about competency-based curriculum. Yes, it is a tool, but we are just falling back to the 844. The STEM team, those specialized areas, even the social sciences, it was not about textbooks. By the way, if you are doing the social sciences and you are going the competence-based curriculum way, students are supposed to be exposed to so many books. If you remember the East African Writers series of Chinua Achebe, Peter Abrahams, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Taban Loliyong, those kids now in the competence-based curriculum, for them to attain the competences, the literacies, they are supposed to read 10 to 20 of those books in their first year. Appreciate Julius Caesar, contemporary European literature, and then come to West African and East African literature and poetry. They are not supposed to be confined to 1 or 2 set books. How do you get the competences? I'm just giving you an example. So I don't know how many of you would really see this as a very rich area of research, because you're looking at the teacher implementation fidelity. And I might even now remove teacher because it is about implementation by those involved. Look at this topic where I want in the education sector: distributed leadership and teacher collective efficacy in improving learning outcomes in rural secondary schools in Western Kenya. Yeah, a lot of our schools have just scoped this, delimited to Western Kenya, but it can be said of any other place in Kenya that what is going on in those rural secondary schools is tragic. As we talk of the competence-based education curriculum. So the efficacy, what does efficacy imply? And you begin to ask yourself, why is he using these terms that are deliberately ambiguous? that we will have to design ways of measuring efficacy. What does efficacy mean? The collective efficacy. What does it
I think
mean?
from the top of my head,
Yeah, just go ahead.
the efficacy I'm thinking is it I mean, are they this distributed leadership, are they doing the right thing in improving learning outcomes in these rural secondary schools versus doing things the right way? Yeah.
Not just the right way, Kimani. I'm wondering whether they're actually effective. Efficacy, medicine, efficacy of a drug. Does it cause treatment? Akibaya.
Thank you, Prof. I think efficacy means is whatever that is intended being met. Are they really getting to the degree to which they should get to?
Yeah, and you can see, look at the IV. The independent variable is distributed leadership. That is the cause, that's the stimulus. The dependent variable is collective teacher efficacy stroke student mean scores. But then the current evaluation system, the current grading system, in fact, I'm supposed to write an article on that, statistically has a lot of gray areas. These results that came, lot of gray areas in terms of statistical efficacy. They were not measuring what they were supposed to measure. And you can see where we then sit as a nation. In the falseness of statistical mapping and evaluation. This one, we've just started on it. Organizational behavior. This is the one we were dealing with. The moderating role of psychological safety in Kenyan commercial banks. Look at this one. Organizational justice and employee turnover intentions in private universities in Nairobi County. When you look at that topic, it is not obvious. That's why you have to do research. Organizational justice and employee turnover intentions in private universities in Nairobi County. I want somebody to comment. What is this research? What will it be all about under organizational behavior?
Any hand?
So we are being deliberate. We are really sending you into chapter 3. Yes.
Wilson?
Okay, thank you. I think it's all about the effects of the performance of the organization, the employee, how fairness or how the kind of the treatment that the organization need to give their employees in order to maximize their performance.
Very good. And remember, this is organizational behavior. So this is in the realm of psychology and governance. This one. So what is the independent variable? Perceived organizational justice, and the dependent variable turnover intention. So I'm imagining where there is organizational justice, then there will be very minimal turnover intention. That's an interesting area for research.
Just a quick question, Prof.
Please.
For this particular one that you have given, does the researcher need to justify the choice of Nairobi County as opposed to other counties in Kenya?
Good question. Why Nairobi? That's what you are saying. So when you tell us you are in Nairobi, you are telling us you are delimiting, you are scoping, you are outreach to Nairobi. And so you must tell us why Nairobi. Maybe because Nairobi has the highest cluster of universities. Yeah. So getting your samples is not a problem. Maybe Nairobians are socially, economically aware. Nairobians. So the turnover intentions would be interesting to track in this research. That's a very good question. Just to close with this one, we'll continue next week. Public finance. This is the one we've just done. Influence of public expenditure efficacy on service delivery outcomes in county governments, a case of health sector financing in Kenya. And then there is this one, the impact of on-source revenue mobilization strategies on fiscal sustainability of devolved units in Kenya. On-source revenue mobilization imekufa. Most of these people, most of these counties, they're all talking about treasury every day. And the little money they collect in markets, it is embezzled. But it's very interesting. One of my council members is a former governor of Kiambu, Engineer Githinji, I think. And he was telling me unbelievable figures. By the way, Kiambu County generates more revenue than what they receive from the county government, from the central government. Kiambu. Their revenue base is so big. So impact of on-source revenue mobilization strategies on fiscal sustainability of devolved units in Kenya. It would be interesting to do this study in Kiambu and see what is the impact. So the independent variable is here is revenue mobilization strategies, and the DV is fiscal sustainability indicators. That's a very interesting study. So I'm picking from each area one case study. So psychology, we're going to deal with that, growth mindset, emotional intelligence as a predictor of leadership, community development, I'll pick one, security, health, I'll pick one and develop it into a case study. We have public policy, very interesting, artificial intelligence, nursing education, human resource management, theology, those of us in theology, governance, and so on. So I'm working on these case studies so that we are truly grounded. So today we shall send you case study 2 and 3. because one was sent last week. Over to you, Dr. Mwaka.
Right, thank you so much. Let's, as usual, do all loud using emojis. Thank God to AI that allows us to appreciate.
Excuse, Daktari.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, just before you can summarize, I had a kind of inquiry here. Prof, under the topics of under the public finance, yeah, the first topic, when we were doing the chapter 1, you did mention the number of the words that you would recommend to appear in our topic of the research.
Yeah, around 13 or 14.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So I was trying to.
Yeah, I like that because then I know learning has gone on. I'm aware, you see, like this public finance, this one, right? When I look at this, it is 20 words, isn't it? It's 20 words, this one.
Exactly.
And so before adapting it as a topic, we'll have to refine it to under 14 words. Yeah, good. That is good thinking. Yeah. Right now, my intention is not the topic.
Okay.
My
Okay,
intention
thank you.
is a case study. Yeah. All right.
All
Violet?
right. Violet, yes.
Thank you so much, Daktari and Prof. I just wanted some, what can I say? Maybe clarification. In the class test, I've seen one of the paradigm as realism, but I've rarely heard you speak about it in class. So I just wanted you maybe to shed some light on that.
Okay. That's one. Can we have another query? That's not a problem. Any other query so that we wind them up together?
Yeah,
No, just,
Prof.
yes, go ahead. There's someone there.
Prof.
Gilbert?
Hi, Kamami. So I looked at, I'm looking at that bit of devolved units.
Yeah.
When you say devolved units, I quickly start thinking about delimitations. I'm wondering whether that would be biting too much, whether we want to cut across the 47 counties, or probably would it help if you specifically say, like you did mention about the big revenue base of Kiambu County, whether probably want to focus on 1 or 2 or 3 counties.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, I like that thinking. So you're actually thinking about delimitation. You are scoping. And as your shepherd, as your supervisor, sometimes I challenge you, I throw you in the valley, and you come up and say, no, I think I will do this. So no issues at all. The question on realism, it hasn't come up here because I normally leave that to the PhD level, but realism is a philosophical paradigm that is grounded in ontological assumption that reality exists independently of human perception. So realism works towards positivism. Yeah. So it holds that phenomenon like social, psychological, economic, or physical have objective properties that can be investigated, explained, and understood through a systematic inquiry. So just learn that realism is very close to positivism, but from an ontological perspective, the nature of truth. And that's why we don't handle it a lot in, we don't really get into it at masters until we have developed you to another level of thinking. And even the epistemology of realism is different And normally we say realism is loaded with theories in terms of epistemology, theory laden. So it balances, in terms of epistemology, realism, it talks about objectivity, measurement, but there's a lot of methodological rigor, a lot of rigor, because it is laden, it is theory laden, very many theories there. So in just in summary, when you talk about realism, ontological considerations are very strong, that you can actually measure without independently of the researcher. And then the nature of knowledge itself is gained through measurement and theoretical explanations. Basically, that's what it is. And there is also the axiology, of course, the role of values, and realism. There are no values. You don't go there crying. You don't go there taking your emotions and your what. It is neutral. Thank you for that good question.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof. Gilbert, in very short way, without having to explain too many details, because you're asking the question, just ask the question, and you can ask the question. And we add the third question that someone has asked Prof. Now that you've shown some case studies, their topics, can someone pick one of those areas or those topics and move with them in their context? But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, by all means. By
All
all
right.
means. Yeah.
But then they will have to submit chapter 1 again because they've already submitted.
They can reform it in the revision. I'm sending
Okay.
them the chapter 1.
Okay.
If they find a topic here that is of interest,
Mhm.
they just realign it. The chapter 1, we look at it. This is the information we are talking about here.
Yeah, in the interest of time, just 3 and a bio, we are done. Each of you has 30 seconds to ask your question. Gilbert?
Thank you. A quick one, Prof.
Yeah.
How did you manage to make 500 pages come to 50 pages and then to 1 page? I've been just wondering all along the lesson how you did that. Kindly, please.
Number 1. Eugene?
No, let me answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that time we didn't have AI. That time we didn't have, Google Scholar, and we didn't have that. And I can only tell you one thing: lying in the green pastures. And I don't know what I'm telling you, but I hope you understand. It just meant I read chapter after chapter and pulled out the synopsis from each chapter. So every chapter, half a page, 1 page, then I combined. Then we looked for flow, then we looked for subtopics. Maybe one of these days, when we have a seminar, I'll bring the notes from Karega Mutai so that you get to see it. But I thank him. By the way, one of the people God sent to me to sharpen me. But you see, it was initially it looked like adversity. And it is from there that I was able to write to be the secretariat of the Kenya Education Sector Support Program, KESEP. That KESEP document in the ministry before this national strategy came from my desk. So I gained that mastery. And that's why I keep asking all of you to lie down beside quiet waters and in those green pastures. Then you will become. Yeah.
All right. Next.
Good evening, Professor.
Good evening.
Just wanted to know what is the expected page count for chapter 3, similarly for chapter 2.
My chapter 3s from you should not be more than 15 pages. Roughly.
Okay.
12 to 15, yeah.
What about chapter 2?
Chapter 2, maximum 23 pages. So between
Thank you very
18
much.
and 23, yeah. We don't want bulky proposals, no. We want distilled. I don't know, those of you who come from Nyanza and Western, you know how busa is made. There is busa, then they add in brown sugar, sukaringuru, then you have kangara, then they do distillation. Then now you have, out of a debe, you have 1 bottle of changa. Am I saying anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are at home.
Yeah, that's what we want from you, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other?
Okay. Yes, last question. How do we go about robustness check? I didn't quite get it.
How do you go about?
Robustness check.
Robustness check. The statistical indices. The statistical indices will tell me how robust your measurements, your analysis were. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think today has been very heavy for some of you. But, you know, sometimes ugali inakuwa ngumu, saa zingine. Yeah, but I want you to take chapter 3 very seriously. That's what I was doing deliberately. But as I give you examples next week of mixed methods approach design, as I give you examples of qualitative or exploratory approaches, you'll begin to appreciate, and I hope we'll all be able to construct very robust and valid chapter 3s. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Sorry, my laptop went off. So I think they are very happy, and I think now from here, probably by the end of this class, they'll maybe have their second supervisors because they will have gone. The class is very, very ahead on time. I think this is for us the first cohort to be way ahead of time, and we encourage them as soon as they get the feedback, they do their corrections and also move to second and third chapters as they continue with their studies, and probably by the end of this next month they will be done with their write-ups, you know, in terms of drafts.
Yeah, and you know, by the way, this is the first class I'm doing case studies.
Sure.
Yeah, so they're very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I think the approach has really been different, and I think also the class encourages your participation and everything else. So thank you so much, Prof. You have had a very long week, but you still are with us. I know most people in even leadership can't manage what you do, but I think we are very grateful. I want to give today one of our students to give you the appreciation. Mark, you are there, but let me today give it to Agnes Gikunda to give you a review of the class and appreciate.
Good evening.
To you.
Actually, it was a very interactive class, and Prof. Carol Meshach, we really appreciate you. You've really taken us through, you've taken us as your own. And we thank God at least we've been able to get challenged with few case studies.
Agnes, we lost you. Wow. Felix, pick up.
I think we have lost time, unfortunately. Yeah.
Felix, pick up.
I want to say good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to sincerely thank the professor and Dr. Mwaka for the session and the Meshach. We have really learned a lot from chapter 1 to chapter 3, right away from the start of the powerful resilience and how we need to sail through this journey. And we take appreciation to the team for making sure that we have pushed ourselves right away from 5:30 up to now 8:40. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So, Prof, just to know that the class, so far, we have about 125 who are fully registered, about 23, 24, 25 are still winding up. So we are very thankful that we have a good number. But I think once you're done, we'll be able to send the names of everyone, and then we begin after this supervision allocation so that they can start moving on. But we really appreciate you, and for us as a faculty, we keep learning every day and being mentored to become the best. You have a lovely rest, and then I can remember the students just for a minute to give them an announcement. Thank you.